How to ward your hair. I was waiting for hair day to make this video so that I can show you how to do it. There are different ways to ward your hair, from beginner to advanced to intermediate. I'm going to be sharing some of the ways that you can do it today. The first thing that you need to take into account is that you need to know very well what your hair routine is. How often do you wash your hair? Because that plays a role in not only like how long you need to set the intention for, but if it needs to be refreshed, if you only wash your hair like once a week, you're gonna have to refresh it midway through if you're spending a lot of time around other people. Because as we come together with like our auric fields, like energies get, a little messy. The longer you go without washing your hair, the more energy that you end up like picking up on, so you have to keep that into account. That means you might want to make some sort of spray to kind of, refresh that protective shield. For example, I have to wash my hair every 3 days because of my amazing hair texture. I need to wash it. So that's my hair routine. Every 3 days, like I have to reset, go into the shower, I cleanse, I remove the ward, so that way I can make a fresh one. The other thing is the things that you're using and what you can use. Like if you can't use oils, for example, because I know there's some people that I like to see on my hair wear oils, but some people can't. Like some people's hair textures, they just can't do it. You're going to have to work with water. And honestly, working with water is probably the easier way to go about this. So this is going to be like 2 tips in one. But if you can only work with water, you can also work with some of the ingredients that you use in your hair care products too, especially if they're like more natural based. You can also activate like different flower essences and stuff like that for the benefit of any type of glamour magic that you're doing, attraction work, money drawing, all this kind of stuff, but also protective as well. But just getting back into just working with water, after you are done washing your hair, if you're just working with water, and you can do the same thing when you're doing it with oil as well, but the oil seals it in, so this is like a different kind of process. But after you're done, you came out the shower, everything's drying, as it is drying, okay, you're gonna want to activate the water that's being absorbed in by your hair with the intention to protect. You can go ahead and put a glamour on the water, and you can work with it that way. I would recommend doing a rosemary water so that you can add that in, and it also absorbs with your hair, and rosemary helps with hair growth. It is a protective herb, so it's like I would actively make a rosemary like spray just for this particular reason, if I were you. But if you just wanted to work with water, you can just activate the water as it is being absorbed into your hair, and you're going to close your eyes. You're going to visualize a shield coming into your hair as it is drying. You're just visualizing and sealing that thing in. So that's one of the ways to do it with water. If you're doing oil, you're going to want to pick some sort of protective oil. I like using the Moonlight and Sage Evil Eye one, because people be evil eyeing out here. So you're just gonna want to pick a protective oil. You can also just use rosemary oil, activate the herb for its protective qualities and for what you need it to use for, which is your hair, so that anytime you need to work with it for your hair, you have that oil set for your hair specifically. You want to make sure it's the last step, and you want to make sure you seal it in. You can also incorporate the braid technique, where you make one braid right kind of like at the back, so it's not like in front of anything, like it's not noticeable. You can make a braid right at the back, and as you are braiding, I prefer to do this with song, because it's like tapping into more water magic and like siren, like mermaid kind of magic. But as you're braiding it in, you're going to want to, if you're doing it with water, you're going to want to take water as you're doing it just to seal it in. You're doing it with oil, you're going to want to make sure you're using that oil. You're going to braid like a small strand. You can make it thick. If you already have braids, and this is a lot easier to do, you could just pick one thing and then just but you're gonna basically activate that specific braid with the intention. This is a really easy one to do a jinx with. That's one of the ones that I like recommend to people when they're trying to do a jinx. It's an easy one because as you're braiding your hair, you can have one section be the kind of shield of protection, but the end part is like if somebody even dares, as you're going in, you can visualize like a blob of someone, like whether it's male or female. You can visualize a hand, and what you need to do is you need to visualize what's going to happen to this person if they even have the audacity to touch your hair. So For example, you can visualize like a hand coming to touch your hair and what happens afterwards. Like you can visualize like a shape of a person like stepping on shit, losing their wallet, like they just had a bad day, whatever it is. Like you're just visualizing that and adding that to the bits, the end part, not like the whole thing, but the end part. Up here you want to put your protections. You also want to put your like attraction stuff, like if you wanted to attract money, prosperity, if you're doing some like love glamours, like for people who you want to consent to draw in, you can add that layer. But the end part, you're gonna want to add, if you wanted to add the jinx aspect, you can add that there. So that is some of the ways that you can ward your hair. Once you get your routine down, it's kind of like really easy to kind of do, but it's practice, and as you do it, you kind of get to know like what your favorite kind of combination of doing stuff with. There's more different ways of how to do it, but I feel like this is like a good amount of information to give you, you know, some tips on how to do it. But yeah, just find what works for you and see what you feel really comfortable doing. Get to know your hair texture, how, you know, often you wash your hair, how often you need to do this, making sure that once it's time for you to wash your hair, you're cleansing everything out so that you can reset. And yeah, and if you're at like the beach, for example, that's also like if you're in a body of water at the beach, you're getting a cleanse, that's cleansing your wards as well. So when you come out, try to make sure you have like, whether it's that rosemary spray for protection, like if somebody tries, you're gonna want to like have something on hands that you could just do until you get home and you get to wash your hair again. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you. Thank you for asking a question, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments down below. Bye.